Hey, it's Yash. So I'm not trying to be clever here, like, seek, don't seek, try to awake, but don't try. The truth is always paradoxical, and here's why. When we're talking about seeking or awakening, it's not for the pure consciousness. Pure consciousness, pure self doesn't know anything about seeking or awakening. It's the whole concept of enlightenment and awakening is still part of this whole play that we signed up for. But see, most people take this play and the character that's in it to be more real than the consciousness itself that in which this whole play is happening in. So this is the sadhana, is for this character to wake up to the fact like, oh, whoa, this is actual virtual reality game that I'm playing. That awakening to that fact never ends. It keeps getting deeper, deeper, and deeper. If the human construct character was totally awake, it wouldn't exist anymore. How can it? If there's perfect balance, there has to be some friction, something to exist, to press out. Hence, you can never really awaken totally. I remember these video games. They got so sophisticated now, but I didn't like to play much, actually. I liked pre-teen years, I enjoyed. But then after that, it just hurt my nervous system. I was like plugged in. It's like I'm already a virtual machine plugged into another virtual machine, and it was just too much, But I see sometimes these kids playing these games, and it looks really real. Like you see the virtual character on the screen navigating through this, maze of drama. And that's what the life is like. When I'm walking down the street, if I pay attention, I almost wish it wouldn't happen so much because it gets trippy after a while. I feel like the same thing. It's like I'm walking. It's like who's seeing all this stuff, It's like I'm the virtual character, even right now, even talking. It's like, who's really doing this? It's just clear. This is a whole, and you see all the figures walking around the other virtual reality machine, they take themselves really real. They really believe it. And something wants to come on, man, do you know this whole thing is just a trip? Can we share that moment? No, what do you mean, man? What are you talking about? You high? Or they might know intellectually. They're like, yeah, everything's a dream, everything bliss, peace. Oh man, I'd rather talk to the robot that thinks he's a robot. All right, so this seeking energy, it has to die a natural death. The highest spiritual practice is the most balanced. You're allowing the seeking energy. It's part of the play. You see, you can't just say there's a certain destiny that we're here for and to do. You can't just, the mind can't just call that off. So seeking's just a dream. I'm not going to do it anymore. Because if the life force is flowing in that way that you're still seeking, then let it play out. Let it seek. At the same time, realize that there's something that's not seeking. You're watching the virtual reality character seek. You're allowing it to seek. You see? You got to do that. While at the same time, this self-awareness is also being developed. This is the best balance, and then you won't look weird. You won't sound like some airy-fairy that's da-da-da-da, but at the same time, you're not going to be your average collective unconscious person that believes very deeply in this show. There's going to be balance. It's a very thin wire that we're teetering on, this is what makes this game so amazing. I just wanted to say, I wrote something down about this this old man. I saw a video. You can let me know if you want the link. He 109 years old, black veteran, and it's the title's The Secrets of Life or something. And man, I was listening to this guy. Now here's somebody that's It's obvious he didn't study non-duality and all the. It probably didn't have any spiritual practice, but full on, man. Like, he knows his trust in God is stronger than a lot of people I can say who meditate and who are doing spiritual practice and yoga and all that. His trust, his surrender to God's complete. It's deep. It's said somewhere in the Hindu, I don't know, Upanishads or somewhere, the Vedas, that if you make it to 84 or 87 years of age, that you're pretty much done, pretty much finished. And here's why. Because by that time, if you've lived, a full life, you've experienced everything. There's no more experiences to have. And you've seen now how things work. You can't really take things too serious, yourself too serious. You've realized, there's a greater power that's running this whole thing. Like, I really don't have much say in anything. It appears that I'm doing something and maybe control something and making choices, but when it gets right down to it, this whole show runs itself. So this is what this black guy, I forgot his name, wise man said, because he was in war and he saw very clear. He's like, if it's your time to go, that bullet's going to hit you. If it's not going to hit you. And he said it with, here's the point. It's not just saying it. Everybody can say that. He said it with such, he was an emphatic, like it was totally one with his words and very relaxed about it. He's like, man, this is just what it is. This is what it is, And so that's this is the whole thing. So is there even any point to have a spiritual practice? Well, of course. Maybe we won't live to 87. But this is also part of the play. Not everybody in life is destined, number one, to awaken to a sufficient degree or to have a spiritual practice. This is there's so many different paths. There's so many different paths to awakening. It's not just everybody needs a spiritual practice. This man demonstrated that, and many more. I've met them, and I've mentioned, I think, on a couple videos, there's some villagers and other people. They don't know anything about these concepts of being awake, yet they're demonstrating, the consciousness is demonstrating a wakefulness that you just don't see in a lot of people who have a spiritual practice. Is a spiritual practice still necessary? Yeah. If it's in your blood and your life force is moving you to do that, yeah, because it can accelerate things. We can't see the string of lives that everybody lived. We don't know. We don't know, like the person who doesn't have a spiritual practice, who seems to be awake, maybe they had one in a previous life. So you can't figure this out with the logical mind. What you do is you do introspection, you accept how the life force is moving you, and you surrender to that. That's surrendering to God's will. There's a difference. You got to discern. Is it the mind telling me to do something, or is it the actual life force, prana energy that's moving? Because that's what's running this virtual reality game. It's that. So we have to become aware of that and accept it and enjoy. So that's my point. Seek, but don't seek. You can do both. See, it's paradoxical because if we just talk about non-duality only, like some people do, there's something weird. It's not balanced. It's not the truth. If we only talk about duality, obviously that's also not the truth. So where's the truth? In between, both. That's why, to speak truth, you got to talk in the language of opposites, and everything sounds paradoxical. But for those who have some intuitive, who are mature enough in their evolution, you know this stuff, and it's a joy talking to you. All right, see you.